guest today, I'm very excited, is Michelle Neujahr. Nu-yar. She's the owner of Nu-yar, N-U-Y-A-R, Nu-yar, uh, a no-nonsense business consulting company uniquely focused on growth. She's my kind of lady. In addition, she's a professor of business at Southern Maine Community College. So she found herself having to transition all of her classes online, and she's here to tell us what that experience was like. It was the first time for her having to do that, and really interesting on hearing the story, what it was like for your students, and all that good stuff. So let's get into it. When did you foresee? How did the school prepare you, if at all?
In full disclosure, I have taught online, but an online class is an online class. You set it up that way. Students who sign up for it know that they're signing up for an online class, and it's structured ahead of time. You know, you have a plan. We actually went out on spring break. So I had two classes, an entrepreneurship class and a social media marketing class that met on campus 2 days a week. Both classes were full. So I had 30 students in one, 25 in the other. And we went out on spring break. My husband and I went to Mexico. And prior to leaving, COVID was starting. You were starting to hear some things, but there was nothing on the radar academically or at the college or at any campus at that point that said, we might not be coming back. When I go away on vacation, I completely check out. I don't check phone. I don't check email. So you can imagine my surprise 7 days later when I turned on my phone and there must have been 50 emails from the college saying, we're extending spring break another week. We're going to be putting classes online. Everything, all the extracurricular things were canceled. I was working with a group of student leaders on a college competition. So they basically gave the students an extra week and said, we're transitioning you all online. I think the thing about an online or an on-campus class is students choose to be there because they want the interaction with you.
Yeah.
They chose not to take an online class. So we were not set up. I looked at all of my colleagues, those of us who were teaching classes. Now I had some experience with the online portal, but my biggest thing was, how would I engage a student that didn't want to be online? And that, I think, is the biggest challenge. I have experienced some of the biggest blessings of my career teaching since this transition, and some of the greatest struggles in the last month as we have now closed all campus classes until next fall. So this group will be finishing in May, and my biggest challenge is to get them all across the finish line online versus what they really wanted was that in-classroom experience.
Yeah, I have to say, I've done both online as a student, online classes, and in person. I'm so much more in person. So if having the option, I will always choose in person for that reason, because you get more interaction. It for me, and I learn better that way. So if you're shifting me to a less preferred learning methodology in a rough situation time, then my desire to learn might actually take quite a dip, my motivation to do that. So what was your first step towards doing the transition and keeping a student engaged?
So my very first step was to organize a series of videos that I put out prior to even the end of that second week of spring break, just saying, hey, I'm here. We're going to get through this together. We have a plan, and that plan is going to include a lot of flexibility. So really, we couldn't require them to do any work over that break period. But my goal was I was communicating via email and using videos that I was recording just so that they could see me, and then reaching out to students individually. I knew there were going to be some students who really struggled with this transition. And, as you mentioned, we're all feeling the stress of this. This is all impacting us all in a different way. And for a lot of our students, you know, they lived on campus. Some of them didn't have places to go to, and so there was this scramble. But I used video, and then I set up Zoom classes to run at the same time as their classes met. And we have been meeting. The very first week, we had, I think, 26 students on Zoom. And I didn't teach, I just connected. So we went around the screen, and I just had everyone say, all right, what's one challenge you're facing? And then I asked, at the end, I talked for a little bit about, you know, updated homework and what that was going to look like. And at the end, I asked everyone to share one thing they were grateful for, one positive thing. And there was this bond that really happened. It kind of makes me teary, but like I felt a connection with my students that I hadn't felt before. I think part of that is when we're going through times of crisis, our walls are down, and they were really craving the connection. And so we've continued to do that. We've actually, over the last couple of weeks, brought in guest speakers who join us on our Zoom call to talk about marketing your business. And that has been, it's been amazing.
So, because you mentioned that the college had an online platform. So you're doing a mixture of using their platform and then also using Zoom, because I'm assuming that Zoom was not part of the regular online form.
Yeah, no. So they use a system called Blackboard, and unfortunately, we are in the midst. So I was one of the people to kind of get trained, to train the trainer on the new platform that we'll be using called Brightspace. But currently all of our professors were using a platform called Blackboard. And we all had access to it, even if we taught on the campus. We were set, and it's still going to happen, but in the midst of this, all of our classes were beginning to be transitioned over. So that alone is an enormous undertaking for a college. You throw on top, all of a sudden you take your entire campus and you move it online. I mean, our IT people are heroes. I don't know how they've done it, but I actually had a pro Zoom account for my business. The college did open up a bunch of licenses, but I didn't have to wait. So I was able to just jump on and start doing classes. I've also been doing all of my student meetings because I no longer have an office or that I can go to. I have a home office that they can't come to. So I've been meeting with them via Zoom. So if students have questions, I just immediately will respond, hey, let's hop on Zoom quick. That way I can see them, I can screen share. And what I find in the online environment is sometimes when I don't see you, it's easier for me to be frustrated and escalate. And so I've really tried to, as much as I can, use this technology to help just bring down that stress and let students see my face and know that, you know, we're going to get through this and I'm here to help.
So now, do you feel that this has, having gone through this experience, is actually shifting, like if you ever did future online classes, that you would do them differently?
Oh, absolutely. So I have our summer classes. I teach online in the summer anyways, but I'm already, I'm in the midst of updating those courses, of changing how I'm doing things. My thinking around office hours, going to office Zoom hours, and really looking forward. The college has said, we want to be back to school in September. But they've also communicated with us, and there's been a lot in the news about, the likelihood that we could have to do this and transition online again is real. And so we need to be, I think there's going to be a blended learning happening going forward. And I think those students who get comfortable with this are going to have, some more options open to them.
So what has been the feedback from your students?
I have gotten really good feedback. They loved the Zoom calls. I actually have a couple students who are really in some crisis situations, and we schedule like a office hour lunch once a week. So people bring their lunch. But the feedback has been good. And the other thing that they've all said is, wow, this is a first for us, for most of them. It's really uncomfortable not only to show my face on Zoom, but to have all of us there and then know that you're recording it for other students to watch. And so I think we've all had to get outside of our comfort zone and just get over what we look like in a video or a recording, or what we sound like.
Oh, I love that. That is such a splendid and valid point. I'm seeing when I'm inviting people to do what you and I are doing right now, there's been so much hesitation because I really think so many people are scared of just popping on a video call and being recorded or going live. So it's really great that your students are getting over themselves. They're getting over this, because I do think moving forward, this technology is just going to become more and more common, whether it's because of continued situations with the COVID-19 or just future threats that might come about, to where it just makes more sense to be in the safety of your home or wherever you happen to be. Now, you did mention that there has been some tough moments through this. Do you mind sharing one of them?
Not at all. The volume of emails it's probably 5 to 6 times what it ever was. And again, it's that I'm not seeing you. I can't just pop into your office. I don't know if I'm going to get my question answered. And I think that, coupled with the stress of just what's happening in the world, students, often by the time I go to respond, they'll have sent 7 emails. It's like this panic. And so the workload has been tougher. I've also had a few students who just have not transitioned well and haven't responded well, and didn't matter what I did, I wasn't going to be able to make that right. And that's, that's sad.
Yeah. That's got to be really rough. Do you think that maybe having some sort of forum to where the students can answer each other's questions, to where they're building more of a community among themselves, would help out as well?
So I actually added a private Facebook page to each of my classes as well. So there's the discussion board through the Blackboard system, but that one's a little harder and students don't access that via their phones as much. So I've tried to encourage that, and even put some prompts out there. They're getting to know each other better. And I'm hoping, we're almost to the end of the semester. So probably by the time we get there, that's going to be, working better. But
yeah, because technically, well, that's really great to do that, and very fitting for your classes. I mean, you said social media marketing, so yeah, you might as well get used to leveraging social media in a different fashion than just, I'm just telling people what I'm doing today. And also, particularly as an entrepreneur, that's just a massive tool at your disposal that you have to use. So it's really great teaching them to see it that way and to use it that way. And obviously you have the freedom to do that too. I'm not sure if some schools are restricting the ability for teachers and professors to do that, but and it does then allow everyone to actually connect on a deeper level that in the classroom they might never actually do. So there can be a lot of good benefits that come out of this. Well, that's awesome. Is there anything else that has been a first through this?
I think for, just on my business side, I have always, been a consultant for many, many years. I do all of my work face-to-face. I traveled for what I did for many, many years. And when I moved to Maine 15 years ago, I decided my clients were going to be people that I could meet with face-to-face. And I have a lot of clients that are in the trades and have never used Zoom before. And so this has been a first for me, like coaching my clients and engaging them. And I actually brought on 2 new clients during this last couple of weeks. So only getting to work with their employees and their teams via Zoom, it has been really, it's a first, and I'm still figuring it out and figuring out how to engage both my clients and my students. I think what I've learned lecturing or, being a professor during this time is I've had to be flexible, but I also can't do the same kind of things that I've done in the classroom. So I have to be a little bit more purposeful of how do I engage the whole class, whoever is on with us that day, while speaking to the students whose questions, they might not be live, but I've gotten their questions. And you can tell really quickly I guess you can in the classroom too, but I think I can tell even more quickly how boring I am if, as I'm looking around at the different screens. And not first is I've gotten to see all of my students' pets, because you have all their pets walking in the screen during class. So it's kind of fun.
That's interesting.
I did have one student that I was like, you got to wear a shirt to class.
Oh,
you
boy.
gotta just out of bed, but you got to wear a shirt to class.
I don't care if you're not wearing pants, but a shirt is a must. Oh, that is too funny. Now, I'm just interested in, as far as like with on your business side, I'm just curious, just want to dig into this a little bit. Why did you, because that, a lot of it, is it one-on-one or is it with groups as well?
So I always start, all of my work is with the owner, but then I often end up working with the owner and their executive team or their management team, or so, end up going deeper within an organization. But it always starts first with the owner of the company.
So I'm curious, because the transition and you're in this so much, what is different for you between, like, if you and I were saying face to face versus doing this or with your client, like for you, what is different? Like, why do you think in person brings you closer to someone than, say, doing it this way? Or have you changed your mind since you're doing it this way a lot more? I'm just curious.
So I am a handshaker and a hugger. And that just the energy of, you and I being across the table together is different, I think, than online. I'm getting used to it. I'm leaning in as much as my clients are. But I think what I miss most is it's almost like we get on a Zoom call and it's like we've forgotten how to just do that a little bit of connecting. It's like, all right, let's get down to business, because we're all on Zoom calls all day, or we're all, kind of going 100 miles an hour trying to deal with this. And so it's the getting into their office and experiencing the other people in the office and experience just the small talk, the things that I get to see and hear and experience that I don't see and, experience online. I like having this skill and getting all of my clients up to speed. I don't know that I ever want to go back to just doing it this way. And like a lot of the work I will do with the owner or their management team doing strategic planning, and then I'll be part of communicating that at their annual meeting or at employee meetings, doing training. I miss that. That is that's not the same on Zoom.
Oh, that's very interesting. Fascinating. I hadn't thought about that. I think because I probably do more small talk when I Zoom than in person. So that's very, I think ultimately it does end up a personality thing, but those are very good points. All right.
I think it also might be the more comfortable you are, because a lot of these people, it's like, this is brand new. It's the first time in my life I've ever had to do that. So maybe that will change as,
yes,
I need to be the more bold one to ask the, chit chat questions.
I guess because my shows are chit chat shows, that it actually puts me in a chit chat kind of a mode, versus if I meet somebody for a business, then it's like, okay, I'm here for a business, not for a chit chat. And so it's fascinating, because as you were talking, I'm like, I'm shifted the opposite way because of how this was set up for versus in-person meetings. So, all right, I love it. Okay, so let's switch over and let's play the first time lightning round. So the way that this works is it's similar to the way it works with the app. I will give you some first time possibilities. If it's something you have done before, it's up. If it's something you've never done, not interested, it's left. And if it's something you've never done, would like to do, then it's right.
So right on my mouse pad, I do that?
Oh no, it's just kind of verbal.
All right.
Yep.
So up. All right. Up is I've done it.
Yep.
Left is I never want to.
Yeah, never done it, not interested.
And
And
right is maybe.
it's, yeah, you would add it to your list. You would put it
Okay.
on your list.
Okay.
Okay. Volunteer at a homeless shelter. Oh, done that. What was your first experience like?
Oh, I don't even remember the first time. But one memorable time that stands out is we were there with our kids, and a fight broke out. And I remember my son just clinging to me, and yet he was the one who wanted to go back. It was, even though there was this, experience, what we experienced there, he was like, I don't care. That was a little scary, but I'm coming back.
Oh, well, that's good.
Yeah.
Okay. Get a hot stone massage. Oh, she has had one of those. Go ice fishing. I would say you're in Maine. You must have done that.
Well,
What was your first
boy,
ice fishing experience?
First ice fishing experience was probably with my grandpa, my dad's dad, up on Lake Mille Lacs. We actually lived, I was born and raised in Minnesota.
Oh,
So
you
growing,
just like the cold.
we lived on the lake in Minnesota. So we had an ice house and we went ice fishing multiple times a week during the winter.
Oh, that's awesome. It's something that's on my list. I have never been ice fishing. Okay, ride a scooter. All right. Go to Civil War battlefield tour. Is that all right?
Could be
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay. I'm sure you've done this before. Conduct a work interview. So to hire someone. What was your first interview that you conducted?
My husband and I owned a construction company, and we hired the very first employee we hired. We interviewed together and hired him, and he stayed with the company for right up until the end.
Oh, awesome. What was the experience like? Did you guys like talk through all the questions you wanted to ask, or how did you plan for it?
So I'm kind of a nerd when it comes to like strategic planning, and so I had like the application and then the interview questions, and I had the whole thing mapped out and laid out. It ended up, my thought it was going to be more formal. It ended up being more informal, but it was a good experience. And I think as we grew together over the years of having a business, we got better at the interview process.
Oh, awesome. All right. Thread eyebrows.
Nope.
Nope. But you would
I
do
would
it.
do it. Yeah.
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 It's very painful. It lasts longer than waxing, but holy moly, it's a lot more painful.
I've
Okay.
heard that.
Attend a film festival.
No.
No, right. Add that to the list. Go to a night zoo.
No, that sounds
All
fun.
right. It is interesting. My first, well, and only night zoo was in Singapore, and a lot harder to see the animals, but it is the animals that come out at night and are more active at night. Okay, eat Cajun food.
Yep.
Yep. Was that was that in New Orleans, or what did you have?
Yeah, so the first time would have been in New Orleans. Yep.
Did you like it?
I did. I wouldn't say it's like something I would crave. Like it was good, but
Yeah.
it's in my top 10.
Yeah. All right. So the next question is today's prompt. And today's prompt is first time disobeying your parents.
Oh, I have a long history of that, but the first time, I can't even remember the first time. One time that comes to mind, I was, a junior high and snuck out of my bedroom, got in trouble, got grounded. And so I got a ladder from the garage, jumped out my window, put the ladder up so when I came back, I could come back in. And while I was away, my sister told my parents where I, had went. And so when I came home, the ladder was gone.
Is this a younger or older sister?
It was my younger sister, but I think in all honesty, they went to her and, she had known my plan, but I'm sure there was many times before then that I had disobeyed.
All right. Yeah, I was a very good kid, very obedient kid. The only time I could think of was I got a phase where I was dressing entirely too sexy to go for school, and my stepmom saw me in one outfit and she's like, no, you're going to change. And I had to change. And of course, later that week I snuck the outfit, went out with one outfit change at school. And I ended up being so uncomfortable in that dress the whole time at school that I never again did that. I was like, you know what? There's something to be said about comfort over looking sexy. I learned that very young. And yeah. All right. So the last question is, which I think we kind of touched on a lot. So, I'm going to switch the question around. Usually the question is, how have you adapted to, the current situation? But since most of our conversation was about that, I'm going to switch it up to, what's the first thing you want to do once things are lifted and things go back to normal?
Have family day. We do a family day every month with our kids and grandkids and get us all together. Usually the start of the year, the theme this year is Italian. My husband's Italian. And so we had really been getting into a rhythm, and I miss that. So I can't wait to have all my kids and grandkids in my house again, laughing, hanging out. Yeah.
Awesome. That sounds very nice. And hopefully it will be soon, and everyone will be safe in doing that. So thank you, Michelle, for being on. Really appreciate it. Really love hearing about how you've been adapting, overcoming, and absolutely making the best of everything, and really truly being there for your student.
Well, thank you for having me, Anne.